Hi, in this video I want to show you how to play against the Caro-Kann defense as white without memorizing a ton of theory. This line is very easy and can promise you some advantage after the opening. And what's better is that I will link the position to the middle game and show you how to continue the game after the opening. So this line, it starts after e takes d5 in this position, c takes d5, bishop goes to d3. That's a pretty popular approach even nowadays. The idea of that after knight goes to c6, attacking the pawn on d4, we are trying to hide the knight on g1, because on knight f3 immediately, black can play bishop g4, and the spin is not so comfortable. So that's why we are trying to move the pawn to c3, with the idea on the logical knight f6 to push the bishop on f4. The point is that now we are waiting what blacks will do with the bishop on c8. And black has basically several ways. The bishop g4 move, the e6 plan, or the g6 plan. Let's come from one to one, and I will start with the e6. So after black played the e6, they blocked the bishop, and they can't play bishop g4 anymore. And that's really very good for us, because now we can play knight f3 without afraiding the pin. And the position could be like this. Basically, blacks prefer to play bishop d6 to change the bishops. It's logical. Takes, castle, and now an important move, rook goes to e1. The point is that we blocking the move to e5 for black, because when knight goes to d2, black can play e5 in this position immediately. So after rook e1, our plan is very super easy. We will put the knight to d2 to finish the development. The other knight can come to e5, a very nice central square. And we will look forward to play rook f3 with the possibility of rook h3 to continue an attack on the king side. Probably after rook e3 we can play queen e2 and rook a goes to e1. So white has like a simple plan how to follow this middle game. Besides, for black the position is not so easy, because they need to define the bishop and create some kind of a counterplay. That is not so easy. I think that you can gain lots of points, especially in blitz here, because you have an understanding how to continue the game, the clear understanding. So this idea basically is the general for the line. You need to remember this, because you may see that we are using pretty the same in some other lines. Returning back, we spoke about the move e6. Black can try to play bishop g4 immediately, willing white to play knight f3. But the idea is that now we have a queen b3 trick. So we are attacking the pawn on b7 currently, and what to do? On some simple like knight e5, we can just do the check, for example, here, queen c2, e6, knight e3, and we are still have our goal. The bishop is blocked with the e-pawn. So returning back, black normally, like as I see from practice, goes with queen c8 or queen d7 in this position. Queen b6 is also good for us, because we can just play knight goes to d2. All kind of the endgames like this are very okay for us, because our b pawn, it's not like an average double pawn. No, we'll go to b5 to take an advantage, advantage in space, fix the a7 as the weakness, and we may have even the plan to double the rooks on the a line in some future to attack the pawn on a7. So such type of endgame is definitely better for us. And I don't believe that your opponents would keep the resistance with these queens for a long while. Returning back, so queen d7 is not, in my vision, so logical, because in some moment we can have, after queen d7, knight f3, knight e5, right, attacking the queen. Let's focus on queen c8, that looks a bit better for black. So now we will go knight d2 to avoid the doubling of pawns after knight f3. What do I mean is, like after e6, knight f3, I don't afraid of bishop f3 because of knight takes f3, so I'm completely okay. Bishop goes to e7, castle. Yeah, because black can't play bishop d6 anymore, the queen on c8. Castle, rook f goes e1. And basically I want to follow the pretty same strategy. Knight e5, probably rook can come to e3. This position is closer to be equal for sure, but we can count on some edge. And what is also important, that black needs to play some kind of a not so normal and typical structure for Caro-Kann. So you can just use it, and I think that you could be satisfied with this position to play. Returning back again, as we covered the move bishop g4 and the move e6, we need to speak about the g6. That's the other sideline, because after like knight f3, we can play here bishop g7, castle. We can play h3 in this position, or even earlier, knight goes to d2. The point of this, that now after bishop g4 I can play h3. And what to do as black? If bishop f5, I will take, double the pawns, and I will definitely count on the advantage. In this position, I believe in white because of the pair of bishops. I don't see any trouble, only possible advantage. So after knight d2, probably black needs to play knight h5. We have bishop e3. Our plan is pretty easy. I showed the plan by the arrows on the board. So queen c2, rook e1, h3. Let's see, like queen d6, rook e1, b6. On b6, for example, we can even play a4, right? Here, knight b3. If black's trying to define the bishop like this, we can attack on the queen side as well. And if black's try to block, bishop comes to b5. So this position should be a bit better for white, because I even keep in mind something like this in the future, right? So that's basically also can satisfy us. So I don't see a single problem for white after the g6, because black still have problems with the bishop. Because after the g6, if they will push the bishop to g4, they can't play like this, bishop h5, bishop g6 on our h3 when we will kick him out. That's the difference. So returning very back, I need to admit one important line that black has, basically, is that in this position, the popular approach, instead of playing knight f6, is queen c7. That's a pretty tricky move, because black's trying to stop bishop f4 and do not us make able to use our plan. Here, white can play knight e2. That's also a good move. I like the move h3, because now I'm preparing my knight f3. As black wasted the time with move the queen, I can waste the time for the pawn move. Why not? So in case of e5 right now, I think that after takes bishop c2, knight f6, knight f3, the easy position for white with the isolated pawn on z5, where whites definitely can count on an edge. So I suppose that's easier here to play as white. So after h3, the main line is to go knight f6 still for black. And here we are following basically our rule. So we are doing our development, rook e1. It's like a good useful move in any sort of such position. Castle, bishop goes to g5. I like this position because, again, it's pretty tough for black to move the bishop somewhere, right? If they will move it to f5, they need to take a responsibility for the pawn doubling. I will play my knight to d2. Again, a very easy line. You have a practically nice position, and you don't need to learn a lot, right? You need just to remember the general scheme, and you have an idea as how to continue this middle game. So I hope this opening tutorial was useful for you, and don't forget to type the comment how you use this line. It's interesting for me, and probably which openings you want me to uncover for you. I'm basically appreciate your feedback in the comments, and don't forget to press like on this video. So see you on my new episodes, and thanks for watching.